Good afternoon. Jim Whitehead here, All Power Group and Phoenix Animal. I want to thank you for being here. It's always nice to have you here. Really, I know you're saying, sure, come on, Jim. Who are you kidding? No, I really do. It's like with anything in YouTube, I'm not doing this for, how do you say, just my own fun. I have fun every day with whatever I do, which is pretty cool. Okay, today we're going to talk about a very interesting animal issue that is not common. I do admit there's one part of this that I really wish, in fact, I was going to even leave out, but it's like you got to be factual, you got to be true. So what we're doing today, the title is The Lioness and the Oryx Calves. And this is extremely uncommon. And that's kind of where, the channel, I try to come up with things that are interesting. I try to come up with, in this case, something that makes little or no sense or even hard for anybody to explain. So I know you're saying, well, Jim, you'll explain it, right? Well, we're going to try. So this is, it's relatively short. This is a truly fascinating case that captured the attention of the world. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's delve deeper into the story of the Lioness and the Oryx. The Lioness, and I'm going to say the name, it's Kamooyak. What that actually means is the blessed one. So Kamooyak is considered the blessed one. The lioness, later named Kamooyak, a Ma word meaning, an MAA word meaning blessed one, was observed in Kenya's Samburu National Reserve in early 2022. Welcome. When will we change? What are we talking about? Okay, thank you. We're talking about a lioness and its very unusual adopting process that doesn't make any sense, and it's still not where you could explain it. So anyway, thank you for being here. Okay, she was a young lioness estimated to be around 2 to 3 years old. I wish I was that age again, right? And appeared to be in good health, though perhaps a bit thin. Now, this doesn't necessarily have in itself that relates to that, but I only do what I'm told, right? So anyway, what made her so extraordinary was her unprecedented behavior towards oryx calves. Now, in most cases, good or bad, well, it's bad actually, but lionesses or lions probably had the oryx calf on the top of their food list. And, I don't like that to happen, but you understand in the animal world, people have to survive, or animals have to survive. So, and what I was saying, how animals treat everybody around them, they don't just go out of their way to be mean. They don't go out of their way to just, I want to attack someone. No. They basically either attack someone because they're afraid or They're hungry. And I'm not saying there's anything, there's nothing else in between, but that's kind of what it happens, I guess you might say. So, a series of adoptions. Kamuyak's first adoption occurred in December 2001. She encountered a newborn onyx calf still with its umbilical cord attached, and instead of succumbing to her predatory instincts, because again, this is on their list of, whether you like it or not, something that they eat. Oh, I'm sorry. So instead of actually doing that in the tradition or function of what she would do, she adopted it. So she adopted this oryx calf. And it's like, no, that doesn't make sense. I'm glad. But, you know, she would not necessarily look at it and go, hey, that's one of my children. Anyway, she protected it from other predators, including leopards and even other lions, and displayed maternal behaviors like grooming and nuzzling. Boy, if that isn't wonderful. You know, when the oryx calf evidently gets separated or lost their mother, they probably wouldn't have survived at all in the wild. But here we go with our little lioness here, I shouldn't say little, adopting the animal like it's another lion cub or lioness cub. Anyway, Peaches, hey, I love your tiger there. I think it's a tiger. Was she shunned by her pack from doing it? Very good question. And in general, initially not. But, and you'll see as I get into it what basically did happen. And as I said earlier when I just started, I was wondering if I should just leave these out. But it's not my job to change the story, add to the story, or make it have a better ending. That's just not what I'm supposed to do. Every morning, someone says to me, now, you're going to do animal stuff, but you're not going to tell stories. You're not going to make things up. You're going to tell the truth. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. So anyway, interestingly, she allowed the calf's biological mother to approach and nurse it. So this is like everything is upside down, and I didn't make it up. So anyway, the mother was chased away, you know, because figuring, I guess, you know, our wonderful, you know, new mother is saying, no. This is my child, and go away. So that's what she did. This suggests that Kamuyak recognized the calf's need for its mother's milk, but still asserted her role as the primary caregiver. Yeah, thank you, Peaches. Wow, that's interesting. It really is. You know, and the neatest thing, you know, when it's where I'm going to do a presentation, I sit there and think, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And what I put in, and yes, I use AI for ideas, and I said, okay, tell me a story of two animals, totally different, and in a situation where you wouldn't say, well, you know, it's very typical that lionesses adopt other animals or other species. No, not really. So I was like, well, this is going to be an interesting one. And even for the new caregiver, the new mom, even knew that if I don't get the milk delivered, you know, when I was a kid, we used to have milk delivered in the box every day. Sometimes it was frozen, whatever. But anyway, it's like this doesn't even add up. But that's good because God bless. I think we all should, you know, kind of try to work together. Anyway, there is Maniac. And, oh, by the way, thank you, Shika Yesen. How are you today? Welcome. It's always good to have some good people show up for the party. Anyway, here she is. Beautiful animal, 2 to 3 years old. And she is now the caregiver for the baby here. Anyway, it's pretty cool. So tragically, now this is the part I didn't really want to say in the presentations, but this first calf was killed by a male lion after 2 weeks. So I think one thing it shows, well, this is a very unusual relationship. And unfortunately, it's a relationship that people just said, well, other lions went, come on, this doesn't make sense. So she was able to take care of the little one for about 2 weeks. And then, unfortunately, and here's a good picture of our little one. And, you know, I'm just sorry that I had to share the whole story and not part of it. Anyway, Kamyak's reaction was described as intense grief and anger. I mean, you know, Manuak just thought, this is my child and I'm going to raise it. I'm going to do and bring anybody else in to help. And certainly not in a situation where she's going to lose that one she loved. She roared and circled the male lion, expressing her distress. You know, saying, why'd you do that? Remarkably, Kamyak went on to adopt several more oryx calves in the following months. So, you know, she said, hey, we're a team. I'm going to take care of anybody that needs to be taken care of. So, anyway, she repeated the same pattern of maternal care and protection. Each calf, unfortunately, met similar fates, highlighting the harsh realities of the wild and the challenges of such unusual relationships. Okay, now getting into why did she do this? You know, why did she do this? The mystery remains. The reasons behind Kamyak's behavior remain a mystery. Several theories have been proposed. And I admit, you know, when you can't say, well, tell me the whole story, you know, to either animals, you know, and the animals, well, I was here. No. No one knows why she had this desire to adopt oryx calves when they were young. Not others, not any other animals, just oryx calves. So, anyway, they think, you know, and who knows, but they think maternal instinct had gone gone off. It might be possible to say. it's possible that Yak experienced some kind of trauma or hormonal imbalance that triggered her maternal instincts, causing her to bond with the Oryx calves. Yeah, Peaches, she turned into a grieving mother regardless. She had to have her babies no matter what. Strong lioness. Most would be too afraid. Love it. Mother instincts, yes. I had a great mother, by the way. So I know you wanted me to tell you that, but I did. She was wonderful. She died in approximately 1994. And, my profound love for animals is from her. And, as we evolve and get older, we kind of, how'd you say, the things that we believe in or don't believe in probably get stronger. But when I started the YouTube channel, I said, I didn't initially start out with animals, but because most folks don't know what they want to do or what presentations they should do at the beginning, and they kind of flounder around. But it was kind of a natural issue of that. I loved animals so much. My mother loved animals so much. We took care of them. We were the neighborhood or the house in the neighborhood that, and I'm talking in the 50s, give or take 1950s, that, people would bring animals that were hurt, birds that fell out of a tree, et cetera, et cetera. We were the house to bring them to. And yes, we would do everything we could to nurse them back to health. I got to be honest. The recognition that, especially when a baby bird falls out of a tree, and it's not where you're saying, well, I can get up in that tree and put the baby back, especially since we're in a pretty, reasonable neighborhood, and they would, wherever they found animals that were hurt or lost or whatever, they would come to us. So it wasn't even where we could say, well, we can just go back to where in this case, baby bird fell out of a tree, and we'll try to get up in the tree. Yeah, I used to love climbing trees then. I wouldn't now, but I did then. Anyway. Okay, that was so cool. Where are you from? I'm Peaches. I'm from originally Barrington, Rhode Island, and moved to Florida after the blizzard of 1978. And I was on the east coast of Florida for many, many years. Moved over here to Naples about a year and a half ago. So here we are. So back to our wonderful lady here. She took care of these animals, regardless whether it was hormonal or just whatever. She did her very best. And you really can't argue. And poor thing, she loved these calves. She was taking care of them like she's a mother. And admittedly, her lion friends, if you want to call them friends, wouldn't recognize the bond between her and the calves. So unfortunately, probably when she's looking the other way, somebody would honestly take the animal. And I know that's sad, sad, sad. And it is what it is. So I have to, I do these things. I don't make it up. I didn't want to put in the fact that she had other lions that killed her children in so many words. Anyway, it could also have been learned behavior. Some speculate that Yak might have learned this behavior from another lioness, although no other cases have been documented. So, pretty cool, really. And there's no complaint here, except how some of the ends, and the poor thing. She, when you love someone, you love someone. There's not anything that you can say, well, it's not their fault. Well, she was doing her best to do the best. So anyway, it could have also been, possibly that Camurak simply had a unique personality and predisposition towards caring for others, even if they were from different species. I like that answer, where she just said, look, I'm cool. I'm a lioness. I can attack anybody I want to. And I'm not going to. I'm going to take care of these animals and raise them. So that's the answer that if I could choose, I'd say that's the best answer. But the point is, since they don't see this and have not seen it before or after, there isn't anywhere they can say, this isn't, she won them in a card game. I mean, you could make up any excuse. Peaches, in nature and the circle of life, facts are brutal but honest. Boy, you are right. Don't be sorry. It just shows us you have a heart. Well, Peaches, I'm 75 years old, and that's probably one of the nicest things anybody has said to me. I'm going to remember that, and thank you. I mean, you do. Last week I did a presentation on animals don't go out of their way like humans to be, how do you say, mean to other animals, generally. Humans get into like, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, I don't like Democrats, I don't like Republicans. I don't like liberals, I don't like conservatives. I mean, it's stupid. Stupid, but it is what it is. Animals kind of go, get with it. Realize that you've got to do some things that are not always the best, and that's like, doing what she needs to do. And she is just wonderful. And yeah, and Peaches, I like your attitude, and you have 100% good support here. And another comment, by the way, from Peaches. Wow, 75, looking good. Oh, I know. I'm not sure how old you are. I don't ask because I don't want to get in trouble. But bottom line is, when I was 35, I'm like, I'm never going to get up to 64. And if you remember the Beatles song, when I turned 64, they wrote that in their 20s, the Beatles. So they were, I'm sure, saying, oh, this is funny, 64, that's so far away. And, well, when I was 35, I was like, well, boy, it's going to be a long time for me to get up to 75. And the biggest thing, if you learn anything from this presentation that's not related to the topic, time goes too quickly. And try to enjoy what you're doing. So, anyway, back to the story. The significance of Camurak's story is significant for several reasons. That's Peaches, boy, I'm enjoying reading what you're putting than what I'm reading what I'm putting. But Peaches says, humans are taught to be mean and rude. Now, you're right. But I will say, my mother was a wonderful lady, and she brought me up to be as good as I can be, as honest as I can be, and that's where we are. So anyway, listen to and or taught. Hence, why I wear shirts that say Yiwa people. Oh, by the way, Peaches is 37. There you go. I'm saying 35. Well, I wasn't sure exactly, but that's a good age. The biggest thing, Peaches, and thank you for your words of wisdom. And I'm sure I can tell you're a sharp person that you're really making the best of what you're able to do before what you are now at 37. And then when you get up to, let's reverse 73, you're going to do okay. So anyway, I want to thank everybody. But anyway, the finishing up here, it challenges our understanding of animal behavior. It demonstrates that animal behavior is complex and not always driven by instinct. See, I say every day, in fact, I am also doing podcasts now, and I have 4 that are up. And one of them is, and a podcast, for those who don't know, I'm always afraid I'm offending someone. Podcasts are technically audio. And the benefit of that is no, thank you. Sorry for you're not messing up my storytelling. I have more fun with being able to deal with people that come on my site, and I want to thank you, period. And you're going to be good. You're going to be great. You're all going to be good. Going to be great. But what I did last week was a presentation on, people are mean in good and bad. They aren't necessarily born that way, in my opinion. I don't feel that people are born, as a bad person, or somebody is born as a good person. I think it's basically how you're brought up. And admittedly, of late, in the last 8 years, 9 years, I got to be honest, the political nature of our society is not conducive for good relationship. But the animals, yes, if they need to eat, they need to eat. But they don't go out of their way to be mean or hurt other animals just because they want to or they can. And there's the distinction. They don't go out of the way to be mean. They just do what they have to do to survive. We are so blessed in general, especially in the United States. I often say jokingly, if you really don't like it here, no one's making you stay here. My wife, I call her 24. Her name is Myra, and she is from Cuba. And the reality of the whole thing is I grew up in a middle class home in a nice town in Barrington, Rhode Island. Not that I had everything, but I had a good life. And that's why it's so wonderful and how I look at things in a pretty positive way, because really you can do anything you put your mind to. Now, her being from Cuba, she was there during when Baptista was the leader, and then Castro took over, and the Bay of Pigs, and I can go on and on and on. And she escaped, you might say, from Cuba in the 1980s. So, yes, she's grown up here from, I think, age 18, but still, she grew up in her childhood in a very unusual situation with Cuba. And she, of course, has good friends still in Cuba, and it doesn't get any better for them. They very rarely have electricity. They don't have a lot of food. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And this is not making it sound, like there's, that it's a bad situation. It is a bad situation. We send things to them. One example, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to get into tangents, but I guess sometimes that's why we do some of this stuff. But she has a cousin that basically has a very elderly uncle. He's in his, I think, close to being 90 years old. He had been using the same razor blade for years. And the Cubans are so good at fixing cars. I mean, I can go on. I have a lot of respect for the Cuban people, and I really don't feel they should be treated like they're treated. But, they basically do the best they can to survive. And again, back to the gentleman that had the 50-year-old razor blade. We sent him, we paid, I think, $19 for a whole bunch, I think 50 blades and a new razor, and it could have even been more than that. And we sent it to him. So, in other words, he had a good shave, finally, for all these years. And you'd say, wow, we sure take a lot for granted. But anyway, back to the animal. And thank you. This has been a great day. Thank you to you all, and Peaches. And again, keep going the right way. Animals can display surprising levels of empathy and compassion, even typically considered toward those that they would look at as being prey. And this is exactly this, unfortunately, this calf species wouldn't be considered like family members. They're considered food. So anyway, it highlights the individuality of animals. Kamyak's case reminds us that animals are not driven by their genes. They have individual personalities and can make choices that deviate from the norm. So it remains a captivating story, mysteries of the animal kingdom. It reminds us that there is still so much we don't understand about animal behavior and complex relationships that can exist in the wild. Anyway, okay, Peaches, maybe not everybody, but never needed anything. That's good. What great parent and parenting there was back in the day. You bet. Nowadays, we are so spoiled and still craving more. Wow. Snaps me into really, in the reality, of being more humble. I'm going to tell you, Peaches, I hope you're doing a YouTube channel, because, I can see you got what it takes. And I'm not saying my other folks that comment don't, but, another comment makes the whole black sheep saying so comical to me, LOL. Yes, I totally agree. Anyway, I want to thank Peaches, and I'm looking back to make sure Yashin, and thank you to you all. And I just want to say this has been a pleasure today. And Peaches, you're right up there. And I want to thank you again for helping me. Take care.